It's Thursday, 8:40 a.m., and I'm about to do my first interview ever, and it's with a very respected person. Come along.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Great, thanks.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Modern technology, right?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Hi everyone, my name is Austin Ludens. I'm a sophomore music ministry and media studies major at USF, and today I'm joined by Representative Dusty Johnson. Thank you so much for being here.
Austin, I'm excited about it. Go easy on me.
I'll try my best. So my first question I have for you, what have been some positive things that you've seen the federal government and specifically the House of Representatives do in this time?
Well, from a policy perspective, in fact, I'll back up. Just from a political perspective, what we've been able to accomplish from a bipartisan perspective is remarkable. I mean, I know DC gets a ton of, has a lot of reputation for fighting and not getting work done. But in March, we passed three major coronavirus packages, and they were all done with strong bipartisan votes. I mean, the CARES Act passed the Senate 96-0. When Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders are agreeing on things, you can tell that we're in unusual times, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then from the House perspective, the most recent, the fourth package that we passed, I mean, that was 388-5.
Wow.
And it does show that Congress is really coming together to get a lot of things done. I'll highlight just one program, although there are lots within these big bills. But the Paycheck Protection Program has been a remarkable success. It has provided to small businesses, dollars so that they can continue to pay their employees, even if they don't have enough for their employees to do. And here's why that is important. We know that when employees lose their job, they're a lot more likely to go on a whole alphabet soup of welfare programs, right? From, TANF to SNAP to WIC to LIHEAP to ACA to HUD Section 9, and they can stay on those programs for years. Those programs are very sticky. It can be difficult to get off them. But if we can keep people connected to their employer during this time, our chances of recovery, of a quick recovery, go way up. And that's been a big bipartisan success.
Yeah, that is awesome to hear. On the same note as that, what have been some challenges that you faced, and how have you been able to overcome them with just working in the House of Representatives and getting things passed?
Sure. Well, we've never been here before.
Right.
I mean, this is, COVID-19 is a new disease. Every disease has its own characteristics. People want to compare it to the Spanish flu of 1918, and that's not a bad comparison, but this is not the flu. It's something different. It's got some similarities and some differences. So I think the biggest challenge for me has been we're trying to make good data-based decisions. We're trying to see a way forward driven by evidence. But in any given day, there is a scarcity of hard data about what a decision will do for a particular community or a particular business or a particular family. What we've tried to do to get around that is just make sure we're, even if we don't have all the information we want, that we really have a good handle on the information that we do have.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. So some challenges like the rest of us have been facing, I'm sure you have too, is just not being able to meet in person. And I know it's in the Constitution, Congress should always vote and meet in person. But do you think during times like this, we should start switching and having remote voting available? Or do you think it should always just be in-person voting?
Yeah, we do have a little bit of flexibility. I mean, the Constitution doesn't say that we can, but the Constitution doesn't say that we can't. So it really is up to the House rules. Now, the House rules have never provided for the kind of remote voting you're talking about. So we would need to change the House rules. There are pretty strong opinions on both sides.
Yeah.
Some people think that changing, they said, well, gosh, during the Civil War, we were able to show up in DC and vote, even though the Confederate Army was just a few miles outside of town. During the Spanish flu, we showed up in DC and we voted. Other essential employees have to show up and do their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why wouldn't we, if for no other reason than a sign of solidarity and empathy, do our job in person? Now, from the other side, people say, well, that's just reckless. You know, we can do our job remotely. And in fact, we have been for 2 months. We've been reading bills at home. We've been analyzing bills at home. We've been taking meetings. We've been getting briefings from Vice President Pence and Secretary Mnuchin and Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci. There isn't any reason we have to be close to them to receive that valuable information. And so that's reckless that people from literally every corner of the country come together and then go back out again. That kind of accordion behavior is highly likely to spread disease. From my perspective, I'm open to the idea of integrating some technology into our work, particularly with regard to committee activity. It seems like that wouldn't be that difficult. We should be able to receive information at the committee level via technology. But before we do anything with regard to voting on the House floor, I want us to be cautious, deliberate, and bipartisan. I don't think we should be jamming any changes. And I think that ultimately we should measure twice and cut once when making those kinds of decisions.
Right. And I think just sometimes for me, it's nice to see when our government is still able to get together in person and meet, and just kind of shows a sign of hope.
Yes.
But switching gears a little bit, I saw that you officially announced a couple months ago that you're running for re-election. What is it like to run for re-election in a time where you can't really go anywhere?
Yeah, and I really haven't been running for re-election. I mean, the political activity has been really modest. I mean, really small. I mean, I think the good news is that I think most South Dakotans think like I do, that listen, good policy is good politics. Keep your head down, do your job, and ultimately you'll be more likely to get hired for another 2-year contract at that position. I've just been so busy with COVID-19 that it hasn't bothered me all that much that I haven't been able to do parades. And I mean, I love parades. I love doing, community festivals and fairs. And we may get to a point during the summer where that will be, we'll be able to do more of those. But ultimately, I really have stayed focused on COVID-19 and trying to make sure that economically and from a public health perspective, we're navigating these waters well.
Yep, that's really good to hear. That's just one thing that I've always really respected about you, is just the way you lead humbly and genuinely, and you aren't always focused on seeking re-election and more just focused on doing a good job. And I really respect that.
Well, I have a lot to be humble about, so humility comes easy.
So next question, kind of switching gears again. Do you just have any advice for people struggling during quarantine and how to move forward in the coming months as we see more changes?
Yeah, I think we all do need to be cognizant of the fact that there are people who are struggling. I mean, I just think about people who have been struggling with substance abuse. Isolation is not good for them. People have been struggling with mental health. I mean, really, this whole universe of behavioral health issues, this is an incredibly difficult time. I think about people who are in abusive relationships and now need to be within the 4 walls of those homes day in and day out, and their abusive partner is within those walls day in and day out. That's a recipe, I think, for people, getting hurt emotionally and physically. So one thing I want us all to do is just to take a moment to reach out to somebody, maybe somebody that we're not particularly close to, maybe somebody that, we sometimes are annoyed by, right? We all have those friends who, are reaching out to us more than we reach out to them. And I think we need to be mindful that just a little connection with them, just, hey, are you doing okay? Hey, let me share a funny story with you. Let me hear about your day. Those, 5 and 15-minute investments in someone's life can make a tremendous impact. And we all need to be doing more of those. We should resolve to do one of those every day. If we're, 15 minutes more away from Fortnite time or Words with Friends is not going to hurt us. But investing in that in another human being really could help them.
Yeah, that is awesome advice. And now, personally for you, if you've had any downtime during quarantine, what has been the most fun thing that you've done?
Well, we've been taking a lot of walks as a family. I've got 3 sons and a wife. There are 5 of us. And so there's been a lot more together time. Sometimes that's good news. Sometimes that's bad news.
Yeah, I understand.
We my boys and I play lots of board games, lots of strategic board games. So that's been fun. And but more than anything, I do like the nature of my work and
Yeah,
becoming an expert in this disease. Not a true expert. I mean, I'm not an epidemiologist, but becoming someone who really understands the impact that this disease is having on our society and who really understands the tools that Congress has put forth for how to deal with it. I get a lot of value out of that. And normally in Congress, we're dealing with 100 things a day, and it's difficult to build meaningful expertise. Being almost single-mindedly focused on coronavirus, I think, has allowed Congress to make better decisions.
yeah, that is awesome. Well, that is all the questions I have for you. So if you have anything to say.
Well, if you ever need anything else, Austin, let me know. And I'm going to keep working hard. And if people have problems that they want Congress to be looking into, just have them reach out to our offices, and we will do our best.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. It really means a lot.
Of course, anytime, Austin. Thanks.
Thank you.
We did it.